Gatso was kind of a local hero legend. Not a hero, it's an anti-hero. Like, be good or Gatso will get you.
To have eaten corpse of a stranger that you don't want and mostly decaying human remains.
Well, howdy, nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. And I want to start off talking about, real quick, I really like the video game series Postal. I bought the first Postal game way back when it first came out, and then I've been picking them up as they've come out, except for Postal 3, which doesn't exist. And I have Postal 4, and then there's Postal Brain Damage, the new one. Inside of the game, you can pick up health pipes, which are a street way of healing yourself, very addictive. And in the latest game, when the Postal dude picks these things up, he goes, "Oh, health pipe. This can't be good for me, but yeah, it really is." And I think that's funny, so thumbs up on that. I just thought I'd mention that. And hey, front-loading of videos, if you could toss me a like if you like what you hear and see, that'd be very cool. And if you do like what you hear and see and you haven't subscribed to the channel, if you could do that, that'd be very cool. If you could leave me a comment, that would be awesome. And I would like to thank each and every one of my Patreon patrons. These beautiful and awesome people are literally beautiful and awesome. They help to keep me alive, and my pets as well, and that's a very good thing. Little Ghost the hamster was running around this morning. He's very grateful to be alive as well. Thank you, each and every one of these people, for helping to keep me and my pets alive. It is appreciated to no end. If you'd like to help me out, then become a patron. The links are in the video description. If you'd like to help me out without becoming a patron, there's a PayPal link. And if you'd like to help me out without sending any money at all, there's an Amazon wish list link with stuff like cat food on it. So if you could check that out, that'd be cool. Don't feel obligated, but thank you very, very much. Oh, it's a day. We're under a heat warning for Western Washington starting today and ending tomorrow. It's going to be hotter today than it was yesterday, so joy. The forecast doesn't look terrible yet. It's gray and diffuse light outside, but that's the Pacific Northwest for you. Up until climate change started to really ramp up as it's doing, it used to always be gray, cloudy, and raining. Thumbs up for that. Oh boy. I also want to mention how I've been taking Wellbutrin now for a little over a week, I think. About a little over a week, maybe a week and a half. I can't judge time, even on partial ADHD meds, but I've been taking it for my ADHD. It has helped my being able to remember stuff amazingly. When I was taking Stratera and such, when I would sit down here to think of, gosh, what did I think of last night? I would blank. Could not think of anything that I had thought of. I have spent a fair amount of time writing stuff down on my topics list so I don't forget them, because those were good things I was thinking about last night. And they're still here. I was pulling them out of my head and writing them down. That is amazing. I end up being far less time blind for the first few hours after I take Wellbutrin as well. In fact, I'm almost filled with energy, which is one of the things that antidepressants do. They give you more energy before they start helping your actual mood, which is why you need to be under supervision of some kind if you're on antidepressants when you first start, because you're given energy to do things, but your mindset hasn't changed yet. So if you've got energy to hurt yourself, you can. So you got to be careful. But it's really nice in that fashion. I have been taking the Wellbutrin 6 in the morning, 6 in the evening. I've been thinking of bumping that later dosage up so that I have less time blindness for the evening part that I remember, instead of losing the ADHD medication toward the later part of the afternoon. So that's an idea. I just have to be careful, because if you take Wellbutrin apparently within 2 doses within 6 hours of each other, that increases your chances of having a seizure. And I definitely don't need that. So I'm going to be very, very careful. But I'm going to be adjusting my dosages. So I'm not the dosage, just the dosage times I take them. And as a minor aside, this upcoming payday, which hopefully I will still have if they don't kick me off SSI, I need to buy more caffeine. This entire big bucket of 500 capsules, I emptied the last of it into my smaller bucket that I actually dispense the caffeine from. So I need more caffeine. I got plenty of meds to do though. So that, not meds, plenty of caffeine tablets. I'm not in any danger of running out, even within the next month. And then, of course, last night I went on walkies all the way up to Walmart and back. That's a 6-mile round trip. And oy vey, when you buy stuff halfway through the trip at Walmart, because sodas are cheaper there than at the local Safeway. So I buy my sodas at the Walmart now. I still buy food at Safeway because some stuff is more expensive at Walmart, some stuff is more expensive at Safeway. I get the stuff cheaper at the different stores. But there's a difference between carrying 20 pounds of stuff on my back on the 1 mile approximately trip from Safeway-ish. It's more closer to like 1.5 miles. But carrying all that on my back for that shorter part of the trip is a big difference between carrying like even 10 pounds on your back for 3 miles. That 3 mile is almost worse than carrying the 20 pounds for a mile. I gotta look that up and see just how far the Safeway is. It's bugging me. When I get to the top of the hill in northern Shelton, it takes about 20 some odd minutes, and if I walk at 20 minutes to a mile, but sometimes it takes 20 minutes just, I've got to check it out on Google Maps, so thumbs up for that. But anyway, point being, yesterday I tried playing video games, and I listened to music, and that's all real good. Definitely a thumbs up. As well, of course, as being creative, and I want to talk about that. So hopefully my talking about all the creative endeavors that I do isn't too boring, but for the past couple years, even before I started doing all this inside-outside, I had a different setting, and then before that I rambled about a different setting. So I've been talking about this sort of stuff for years. It's not new and different. So thumbs up for that. But if I take a look on my list to talk about the various things that I wanted to talk about, this is a thing. I've mentioned that, I talked about yesterday how there's the guy who gets a little squirrel, the little meat-eating squirrel coming from a species of meat eaters. And so because they have meat, they have more energy, so their brains work a little bit better. Actual structural changes because they have more energy. But this one squirrel attacks this one college guy. And he manages to capture it and tame it with only minor damage, and so it becomes his friend. Now there's an actual reason that I gave it the name Gatso, which the name itself isn't important, but I'm the kind of person that even though I seat in my pants stuff, I also need to have the framework that I can fly through. And part of the framework is, well, why did he call the squirrel Gatso? So, as a backstory, where this person came from, in their town area, there was a large portion of territory where this creature moved in. And over a 10-year period, this creature had a reign of terror over people in this large circle of area. It affected a lot of different towns, a lot of different places, so no place ever got really focused on. It was, oh, bad, something bad here, oh, and then something bad, and it's always a different place, so no one place got ever hurt real bad. But this creature that they ended up calling Gatso was killing and eating people. And through the years, through the 10-year period, the body count just kept rising. And at first, before the first 100 victims, everyone was just horrified, terrified, didn't like this. Between the 200 and 300 mark, ironically, people started, primarily young people, because this is where a lot of this begins, and I wish I was still young and could do this stuff. But primarily, there is an ironic movement where people in these areas start posting stuff online on the social media equivalents of TikTok on the inside, on their equivalent of the internet. But these things are Gatso 500. And it's Gatso 500 because even though nobody wants to be a victim, hey, maybe Gatso can get 500 victims. And so Gatso 500 becomes a big ironic thing. People wearing t-shirts. The thing is, when you do something ironically, eventually you're going to do it unironically. And so as the body count kept climbing over this 10-year period, as I got closer to 500, the actual energy of this whole movement was like, oh boy, I don't want to get killed and eaten. I don't want my friends killed and eaten, but he's almost at 500. And when Gatso did hit the magical 500 number with the official 500th victim killed and eaten, well, that was a big thing on the ThruNet, the inside version of the internet, and people wearing pictures and shirts of the Gatso 500. So that's why he named the squirrel Gatso, even though it was horrific, because it became an ironic then unironic thing. People actually still look at the whole Gatso incident because Gatso was finally a bullet put through their head by somebody, somehow, which the creature had avoided for 10 years. About 2 years before this fellow went to the community college in Apple Rock. So they grew up with this stuff. And in that fashion, Gatso was kind of a local hero legend. Not a hero, it's an anti-hero, like, be good or Gatso will get you. And that sort of thing, and people saying stuff like that as it goes on for that area. And so, yeah, little Gatso. And so that's why he names the squirrel Gatso. I need a framework to put this stuff on, and now that I know how to do this framework for this fellow, I can tell the stories about this guy, because I know his background now, and I'm closing in on his personality to have further life and adventures. My creativity so far sees this fellow, because I don't even have a name, is kind of an inside-outside razor's edge version of a gym bro, kind of. They're an uncomplicated individual. When I call people simple or uncomplicated, I don't mean anything bad. I mean things that trouble people. Existential issues, gender issues, sex issues, stuff that bothers other people. It's like, these are the people that aren't really bothered by it. It's like, oh yeah, that's not a problem. And, well, what do you think about this? Oh, just let people live. And they don't worry about these issues because they're not issues to them. They're just living their lives, doing what they can to make things better, helping others out, and just being them. And this is who this one fellow is. Just the equivalent of bro. So thumbs up on that. Gotta love that. Now, of course, let's see what else that I have on here. Oh, yes, I haven't talked about this one for a while. But in Apple Rock, the kaiju does rampage every 5 years. Since this rampage happens in Common Era 1114, CE 1114, about 5 years prior, actually 1108, which is about 6 or some odd years, prior to that, there had been the previous rampage. The people in Apple Rock can seem really callous, but they are basically drugged by the kaiju, everyone who lives in that area. But that rampage is looked upon with almost familiar contempt by the people of Apple Rock, because only, less than 650 people got eaten. for the longest time afterward, that rampage was looked upon almost with disappointment by the people of Apple Rock. I mean, you'd have people just going like, it didn't even eat 650 people. I mean, was that really a rampage? It's like, but my parents and my wife got eaten. And you go, well, obviously people got hurt. I mean, people obviously got eaten. I mean, even though it was less than 650, people still got hurt. So your pain is no less than you should be mourning. Just, it could have, but, feel bad. Just, and so a year after that rampage, some wit online called it less than a rampage and more of a sleepy midnight fridge raid. And not long after that, the first t-shirts of I survived midnight fridge raid CE 1108 with a high definition picture of the kaiju between its bouts of shoving wads of people into its mouth to devour, looking kind of sleepy just by itself and not doing anything. They seem exceptionally callous, because who would do that? But even people like that one person who says, my wife and parents died in that, he's wearing one. People pull together in weird ways, especially when you're all massively being drugged, because the kaiju can tweak its own metabolism so that the end result of digesting human beings is an odorless and colorless gas. And this gas, as it rolls down onto the city and the people and out into the countryside, it clicks into your receptors, it breaks down slowly into other metabolites that click onto other receptors, and just reinforcing community and just holding together. As well as for some people, even the thought of moving out of Apple Rock will bring on thoughts of anxiety and panic attacks. So yeah, they are callous. Well, it's not their fault. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left me comments in the past 24 hours. If I mispronounce the username, no disrespect is intended. And even though I count American Sign Language, well. So, we have Jesse Koskinen, son of a gun, and always good to see you in the comments, my friend. We have Stephen Blanchard. I have yet to see any of the Attack on Titan things. I'd like to, especially since people get eaten, and I'm all for that, so I'd like to see it. We have Vesper Aegis News and Games. I'm going to have to, if that's a channel, I'll also have to check that out, but thank you very much. JAYY, good to see you in the comments, my friend. We have Yasmin K, thumbs up and thank you. Holly Duncan, greatly appreciated. Carl, thumbs up and thank you. Jay Rathbone, I am at least making content, if not doing well. Political Scientist 88, thumbs up and thank you. We have Ben B, always good to see you in the comments. We have Garage Berry, I like the name, thumbs up and thank you. And then there is Matt Pageau, thumbs up and thank you. That is 12 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Greatly appreciating getting me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only in text and if only for a short time. Definitely a thumbs up. Oh, my upper lip, where it connects to my nose, itches, because I got little tiny mustache hairs that grow up out of my lip and tickle my nostrils as I talk. Thumbs up for that. One of the reasons I keep my mustache trimmed short. Thumbs up. So, is it a weekend? It is. So, it being a weekend, I'm going to be doing even less than I normally do during the week. Hopefully, doing creative stuff, playing games, listening to music, getting physical exercise. There's a ton more on my list, so hopefully I can get that talked about tomorrow. And hopefully you can get done the things that you would like to get done. And if you can't, survival mode is important. And of course, with the world filled with all sorts of diseases that are still raging and still killing daily, we've lost over 1 million people to this in the United States. I think that's the largest percentage of any developed country. Please be smart for your situation and area. You don't need to throw your own body or anyone else's body onto the end-of-life corpse pile any sooner than they need to be there. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is a very good thing.